Let's now from West Bengal move to Uttar Pradesh. There is no bigger catch in India than Uttar Pradesh. And remember, in the Lok Sabha elections, the NDA's prestige took a big hit because the BJP's vote share really crashed. The NDA together was 36 seats in the Lok Sabha elections. Let's see where things stand at this moment in February 2025. Now, the India Today Mood of the Nation by Sea Voter predicts that the NDA's vote share goes up from 44 to 48. That's a very substantial increase of 4 invaluable percentage points. On the other side, the India Alliance's vote share comes down from 44 to 42, creating a relatively comfortable 6% gap in vote share. 6% gap in a largely bipolar fight is advantage NDA. Remember also that Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi haven't been fully aligned on various issues. Rahul Gandhi has been, facing some pressure from SP leadership for some time. So if that leads to a rupture, then it's completely game over. If post-Delhi, post-Maharashtra, they're able to fight together, then the picture could be tighter, but there is still a 6% gap for the NDA. Let's convert this into seats and see where things stand in February 2025. India Today predicts in this Mood of the Nation poll that the BJP's tally could go up from 36 to 43 to 45. Remember, there are 80 Lok Sabha seats in Uttar Pradesh. The India Alliance's tally, which stood at 43, a whopping 43 invaluable seats, could come down to 34 to 36, creating a roughly 10-seat gap between the NDA and the India Alliance in this state, where it will be a battle between these two gentlemen, Yogi Adityanath, Akhilesh Yadav. That is the battle, Rajdeep, the battle royale, and Yogi Adityanath winning a third term as Chief Minister. This battle is not just for Uttar Pradesh, it is for the future of Indian politics.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what happened in Uttar Pradesh after Yogi came to power first in 2017, UP had a period of high turbulence for almost 3 decades. Mulayam Singh and Mayawati would almost rotate chief ministerships. The polity was very fractured. The BJP has been able over the last decade, with Mr. Modi also making Varanasi and UP effectively his Karma Bhumi and Yogi Adityanath, to consolidate their vote. But as the Lok Sabha election showed, there are fractures below. And if those fractures are exploited intelligently by Akhilesh Yadav, you can't rule him out. These numbers show UP, unlike the other states that we've shown so far, is not one-way traffic. So there is an element of high level of intense competition, unlike Bihar.
You know what? 6% का gap है sir vote share में. In a bipolar fight, 6% का gap है.
No, Rahul, 1 minute. Compare it with all the other states where you've gone. It's a complete sweep, for example, for the NDA in Bihar. It's a complete sweep at the moment.
Sir, Delhi was a 3% gap between AAP and the BJP.
Rahul,
a 6% gap in a largely bipolar.
Rahul, this is one state where our cover story headline doesn't really fit in. BJP is getting it back, but it's still not back with a bang in UP.
Yeah,
there is a reason. There is a reason to that. And that's what kind of surprises me a bit. When we were doing the UP calculations,
that's the unfair exalted expectations. If you're comparing with your own exalted expectations, then it looks as if it isn't. If your vote share has gone up,
just to explain, you please see you're 43, you've come down to 34, 36, but you are relatively still within striking range of your opponents. I'm just comparing it to the rest of India, where the BJP wins. Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, they're winning big and they're sweeping. In Uttar Pradesh, my sense is there is an element of political competition on the ground, because there are deep caste fractures that still exist. In Bihar, the BJP has been able to consolidate it using allies. In Uttar Pradesh, on the other hand, as the Lok Sabha also showed, Akhilesh Yadav's intelligent PDA politics, Pichda, Dalit, Adi Abadi, is a politics which does have some resonance on the ground. Now, how he can capitalize on it is another matter. The BJP has a machine. The RSS-BJP divide was stark during Lok Sabha. That damaged the BJP. Make no mistake, the Yogi versus Amit Shah tangle damaged the BJP. As other states, the BJP has course-corrected. All I'm saying, Uttar Pradesh is the one state to watch out for closely over the next 2 years. Akhilesh Yadav should not be entirely written off at this stage.
That's all I'm saying. You can't write anybody off. I'm just saying a 6% vote share advantage for the NDA and a 10-seat advantage puts Yogi Adityanath, relatively speaking, Rahul Verma, in the driver's seat.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So in 2022, the gap between 2022 Assembly election, the gap between SP alliance and BJP alliance was 7%. And BJP managed to romp home, right? But it was also dependent on how was BSP's votes distributed, because that was making an sort of like effect on seat translation. This time, the gap is again 6 or 7%. But will it translate to clear victory for BJP or not? Depends on what will happen to the remaining votes of BSP. It also played in a role in 2024 election. We haven't done that much analysis, but what is a clear correlation that wherever BSP's vote was high, the BJP's vote in those parliamentary constituencies in UP were lower. Right?
Also, will the India alliance hold? We don't know. I mean, in the Lok Sabha, they held together. These numbers are based on the ground.
This is one state where India alliance holds or not is immaterial.
Huh.
Because Congress share in this, whatever the opposition vote is, not more than 2%. So one thing is that. Another thing is that between the assembly vote share and the Lok Sabha voting intention, that's another thing to keep in mind.
Sure.
Because BJP's lead, Rahul, here for the Lok Sabha vote share is way more than what the assembly lead would be when you ask about the assembly vote intent is concerned. So I agree with Rajdeep on this one here, that you have to watch UP very, very carefully.
Yeah.
Very, very carefully, purely from the perspective of incumbency at the bottom against the sitting MPs and sitting MLAs. BJP's number of MLAs dropped by almost by 50 seats between 2017 and 22.
And from a signaling perspective, Shankar Iyer, nothing matters for 2029 more than Uttar Pradesh. If the BJP is sitting in the saddle in Uttar Pradesh, that's one kind of election you're looking at. And if the BJP is not in power in Uttar Pradesh, that's a whole different kind of build-up to the next general elections.
Well, as we saw in the 2024 elections, Rahul, Uttar Pradesh is the battleground not just for the two parties in play, but is also the battleground within the BJP. Immediately after the Lok Sabha elections, you saw a flurry of statements by different people, including the Deputy Chief Minister. There were jokes cracked about who is sitting in which city and managing which state. So the fact is that Yogi Adityanath could arguably say that I was fighting my own party and the opposition in Uttar Pradesh in the 2024 election. More important than the politics is the economics. Uttar Pradesh is among the youngest states in India. And the employment, income, inflation picture does not help the ruling party, particularly if you've been in power for 10 years. And then all the investment conferences or summits or whatever don't seem to have added much to the story there. So for Yogi Adityanath, he would have to first establish, his success will determine the succession war in BJP. His success in the economic sphere will determine his own success in Uttar Pradesh. I don't think that we should walk away from the economic factor and the fact that he is facing within the party a resistance that he has to overcome.
Rajat Sethi, is this war of succession being exaggerated? The fact that there are these internal strifes, many say million mutinies brewing within the UP BJP, or has the BJP got its act together post Lok Sabha in your view?
I think it is the latter. They've gotten their act together. There was a bit of misunderstanding around ticket distribution, especially when it came to the Lok Sabha elections. And I think the BJP learned its mistake pretty well that, it's only so far that you can go in terms of meddling within the state. And I believe what the BJP would be doing over the next couple of years is to constantly also bring in anti-incumbency against these 40-odd MPs which have been elected, and bring in this buyer's remorse kind of a feeling among the voters that you voted for them and what did you get in return. Will that be enough for the BJP to fight the anti-incumbency in the state? See, previously also when we were analyzing the 2024 election, one important thing remained that BJP has been dependent on the bureaucracy in the state of UP, and that bureaucracy is acting as a wall, not allowing genuine feedback from the voters to go up to the political leaders. Since the state is so big, there are very few mechanisms to actually structure that feedback and allow the chief minister to course correct. And if he remains himself surrounded only by bureaucrats, that would be some weakness that the opposition would want to utilize in their favor. Nonetheless, I think what Yogi ji has understood is that he needs to have mechanisms to ensure that his outreach to the voters, his messaging to the voters remain intact. I mean, he was the one who coined the word "batenge to katenge," and at a national appeal, would he want to continue doing that? How much leverage would that increasingly give him in the run-up to the elections? All are questions which would be unfolded in the months and the years to come.
Remember, Rajingappa, it's also about an election about Yogi Adityanath.
Right.
You know, that's the most important. Of course, there's Modi, there's the BJP, there's the RSS. But he's a formidable person, and in past, and we'll find out what happens in this poll, but in past MOTNs, he's been our #1 chief minister.
And that's why, just a minute,
Yeah.
because of that, I think these numbers will be heartening. That's the reason they'll be heartening. If in a Lok Sabha, you're just ahead of them. When Yogi Adityanath is on the ticket, they might do even better.
I'd like to differ. There is a problem that is there.
You think there's a problem with Yogi?
Well, nationally, he emerges as the #1 chief minister in terms of popularity and recall. But when it comes to his home state, other chief ministers are there. He's not on that list. That's one issue. I think the other issue, let us not forget, is the fact that he might be taking this extreme polarization approach when it comes to the national level. But if you look what happened in UP, everybody predicted that UP was a done deal after the Ram temple came.
Yes.
And yet they faced their biggest setbacks over there.
Sure.
You had the Mahakumbh as well, right? We don't know what the results of that was, because yours, I think, sort of crossed in between, whether that was having a push effect in your results over here. But I think what Shankar had said, at the end of the day, it's going to be bread and butter issues. There's a lot of things that need to be done in UP. There's a lot of backwardness. You cannot pepper that with welfare and with religion. You will have to give genuine jobs and genuine income.
Just to add to what Raj is saying, oddly enough, and this we have been discussing for last few years now, Yogi's popularity is more outside UP than inside UP. I mean, it might sound ironic, but the thing is, for a large section of the BJP voters, particularly in the heartland, they treat him and they consider him as the future. He is the #1 chief minister, like that. But when you look into the inside state ranking of how many people are satisfied with their chief ministers, actually he is not in the top 10.
I mean, it will make it a fascinating election.
Yeah, absolutely.
And हमें और किसी चीज़ में मजा नहीं आता. Election में खूब मजा आता है. जीते
And
जा
also
रहे हैं.
remember, it's 2 years away. And 2 years in
2
Indian
years
politics
away.
is a very long time.
And nothing is a done
And
deal.
he has changed in a year.
And if Pran Pratishtha happened on the 22nd of January, and the results came on the 4th of June, and so much could change just from January to June, 2 years is an eternity.
Yeah, yeah.
And nobody can deny the fact that he has taken the imagination of a classical BJP voter, pro-Hindutva voter. So if you talk about being a Hindutva icon after Narendra Modi, his face is pretty
But
much
Modi
among
is
the
much
BJP.
more than a Hindutva icon.
I
He
know.
has
But
so much more additional incremental vote.
Yeah.
That is the question. Can you get it?